so mercifully cleansed by the meteor they named Apophis. We had such plans, all thwarted by one man, Nicholas Rain. With the push of a button, our future was ended. The arcs emerged. The ecopods came tumbling down, all premature, pouring life back into the barren lands, starting the cycle of life anew, as we had planned to do with our own species. Our plans were thwarted by the naive and arrogant masses. The cleansing of our weakened species was hindered. Our aid selfishly refused. They chose their own pitiful existence over the future of the breed. Such hubris. They thought us defeated. We let them believe us defeated. But we moved underground. We watched their petty squabbles, their meaningless turf wars, their childish attempts at order from chaos, and we grew strong. Our science, our expertise, all aligned, all with one sole purpose: the surgical culling of the weak. Man reborn! We tear down the defenses. We take their compounds. We take the arcs. We raise their settlements and townships to the ground. Tonight marks the beginning of the cleansing. Tonight marks the rebirth of the authority.
Dude, even if you played the first Rage, that intro cutscene was probably pretty confusing, but it looked pretty dang good, didn't it? Like, especially for all the pre-rendered bits, there was a ton of detail put into General Cross. He was the big bad robo guy saying all the stuff, and the leader of these inbred dudes. They're called the Authority. This is Lily. She's our childhood anime friend. It's been about 130 years since a meteor fell down and wiped out 90% of life, fucking up Earth pretty bad in the process. And the story starts off with us being attacked in a small town built around an ecopod called Vineland.
I'm telling you, this is the big one.
Alright, let's go fucking get some.
We're Rangers in training. Rangers are basically people wearing suits souped up on space steroids that came on an asteroid that wiped out civilization.
Better you than me.
Honestly, the lore of Rage is pretty slick, and we'll be talking about it a ton and explaining things along the way. But for now, we're playing the game on the hardest difficulty, Ultra Nightmare Mode, which means the enemies hurt a ton and we don't.
Gonna be hard to keep score.
I was never much for counting.
Also, we're in IRONMAN mode. You can tell by the little burning heart at the bottom of the screen. Sometimes I'll be turning off the HUD, but we're always going to be in IRONMAN mode. And that means that when we die, and that's it. The save file basically nukes itself and we lose all the progress we make. Now, that might not mean much right now, but later on in the game when we make a ton of progress, it's gonna maybe suck. But that's only if we die.
Big one!
What the? It's a ranger!
Not just any ranger. That's Jersey.
Holy shit! It took his whole head off!
So much for Ranger Jersey.
He's not gonna defib out of that.
E for Jersey. But it's actually kind of a problem that Jersey died here, because the Rangers themselves, ironically, are dying out. There's way too much lore to go into here, so we'll talk about that later. For now, we gotta put on our power armor and deal with all of these mutated dudes in the courtyard.
Oh, yeah! This is even better than I thought!
So, the weapons in Rage 2 are pretty sick. Conceptually, they're kind of like locked to Rangers, at least the Rangers' power suits and the power suits' usage of Feltrite. But they're really cool because a lot of the weapons have an alternative firing mode when you aim down sights, which kind of brings like a new purpose and a dual purpose to a lot of the guns in the game. Now, when we're starting out here in Rage, we're going to have to play pretty smart and kind of slow-paced, but as we go along and as we pick up new powers and unlock new weapons, the pace of the game is going to gradually pick up until the point where it becomes just this crazy clusterfuck of chaos. Now, I gotta say, the only saving grace of Ultra Nightmare mode is the fact that you can headshot enemies to win. Headshotting enemies in Rage 2 is super weird. The hitboxes can be a little bit weird, but honestly, the fact that we have that option is probably the only reason why this is possible. Now, we finally have access to grenades, which is going to be a bit of a game changer here. It gives us the ability to just splash some damage on all of these dudes, and we're going to try to conserve our grenades a little bit, but we're going to use them as we need to use them. But we're probably going to be making a little bit more use of our wing stick instead. The nice thing about the wing stick is that it's like a boomerang, so it comes right back to us after it's hit the enemy, so we can use that to kind of conserve our ammunition a little bit along the way here. As well, they get stupid strong later on in the game, so I'm probably going to use them more as we go on here. And the other thing too that you got to see me use there is focusing, and focusing is basically the way that we use the suit's crazy powers. So we could see dudes through walls, eventually we can unlock like a shockwave, a ground pound, a crazy gravity well orb thing. There's some pretty crazy powers in this game. But for now, all we could do is just see dudes through walls. We aren't going to be using it too much, but it's pretty handy because it can also absorb Feltrite into us, which are those little blue crystals that you see falling all around. And Feltrite is the resource that was brought in on the meteor that wiped out all of humanity. It also heals us and helps us buy shit, so we want to pick a lot of it up.
Walker, what's keeping you? Get over here!
Hold on, Walker's inbound.
These dudes with the spotlights on their faces that shoot the kind of like big exploding laser, they're super deadly. That big exploding laser kills you in one shot. So I really need to take down these dudes first if I run into groups of the authority dudes. Because you can't tell it yet, but this is actually an open world game. Honestly, the wing stick is such a satisfying boomerang weapon. Top 5 boomerang weapons in all video games, and it's only the wing stick.
You remember what they told us at the academy about the ranger armors? You can overdrive when it's charged.
Now, normally overdriving in Rage 2 in any difficulty below Nightmare, you rip your enemies to shreds, but Nightmare and above, you still have just kind of a moderate damage increase until later on in the game. So, for now, we're gonna have to still play it pretty safe, even while we're using overdrive. Its main benefit is that it's actually going to be a method of us to heal, so we're going to be stocking up our overdrive more often for healing than anything else. Right, and with that, dude, we're out of Vineland.
Get the wounded out of the hot zone. Move! The wall gun is running dry. We need ammo. Go, go, go!
So this is Prowley, leader of the Rangers and our adoptive mom aunt. She's also our anime friend's mom, and she's kind of the reason the Rangers are dying, but also not. It's hard to explain.
Reporting for duty.
Come here. That's Jersey's armor.
Jersey, they killed him.
You're brave enough to put on his armor. You're brave enough to do his job.
Fuck is that?
Never seen anything so big.
Makes an easy target.
Can't be. He should be dead. General Cross?
I want the first Genis. Kill everything else.
General Cross, the evil leader of the evil authority. Our own boogeyman. A bedtime story for naughty kids like me. I don't know if Prowley has lost it or if it's really true. Do you know this, though? If it is, I'm not gonna stand for it. Son of a...
Stand down. That's a direct order.
Watch out!
Prowley, is that you? I was set to spare the lives of you original Archists for experimentation. But for you, I'll make an exception. For old times, Alwina.
Not gonna lie, stabbing her in the stomach probably wasn't the smartest move.
After all, your uselessness is what once spared my life.
Let's see if we can jumpstart this. Clear.
Wait, fuck's sake! I was conscious!
Yeah, you were. But your shiny new armor needed a jolt.
After coming to, Walker decides to enter the Ranger Command. In the Presidio, he'll likely find Prowley's plan just in case of a scenario like this. The Presidio also houses the Ark that held the people chosen for survival back when the meteor struck. Prowley was chosen for her military experience as a Green Beret and is a Gen 1, whereas Lily and Walker are Gen 2, born after the Arks had resurfaced.
It comes down to it, you don't do jack.
One more word,
What?
and I swear.
You swear you'll kill me like you killed all those invaders that you didn't kill?
Vineland is left pretty rough after the authorities' assault. There's only about 20 people left alive, and all the Rangers are dead except for Walker.
I hope you got something for me in here, Prowley.
Unknown intruder. This is Presidio Security Protocol. State your name, rank, and business.
Walrat Unit, Corporal Walker. I'm here to find information about Ranger Unit Sergeant Erwina Prowley.
Processing. Security Protocol override.
Prowley's message to us tells us that this was left in a worst case scenario and that in this likelihood she was probably dead and the authority was back, which is pretty much on the money. The Arks held humanity as a final bastion during Apophis, but that's not all they were there for. Hidden inside of the Arks are technology and weapons designed for the Rangers, and their crazy souped-up armor, left behind by Nick Rain and a bunch of Gen 1 Arkists from back in the first game. In this arc, we'll be getting our first ability in the game and really taking our first step as a Ranger. But that's not all that Arks offer. They also have these awesome little cabinets of supplies in them. So when we go off to Arks in the future, not only will we be getting something new, but we'll also be getting supplies for our old stuff. So we're gonna have to use our focus to get inside of this arc, and actually in this first arc we're going to get one of the most useful
Security
abilities in
scanning
the game.
complete. Welcome to ARC 401A.
So I just stick my hand into this strange hole and hope for the best.
You know, that's exactly what I did with my first girlfriend.
There goes nothing.
Welcome to the simulation chamber. In here, you will be able to gain proficiency in the use of your ARC weapons and any ID accessions.
So all of these tutorials pretty much just go about telling you how to use like your guns and your powers with like this really upbeat and chipper kind of voice. This is good tutorials.
Good. Again, please. And again. Good work.
So what we're learning to use here is the dash ability, and dash is super useful. When we use our dash and shortly after we use our dash, enemies have like a kind of accuracy debuff that gets applied to them. So it gives us the ability to not only dodge things and close ground and cover like distance really quickly, but it also gives us the ability to dodge things afterwards and kind of have a opportunity to fight against like massive amounts of enemies. And just like everything in the game, it gets really powerful in the late game when you start getting it like fully upgraded.
Really have to eat my arm?
Come back to the main hall. I have more information for you.
So here we get a huge exposition dump. Basically, the last one before the game lets us loose onto the world. I'm gonna sum it up real easy here though. There's this project that's called Dagger. Dagger is meant to combine a bunch of original archists together to take down the Authority once and for all. They were about to do that before the attack, and now it's on us to complete the project. We'll need to unite 3 key people and fill Prowley's role. John Marshall, Lusum Hagar, and Dr. Kvasir. They all have major stuff that they've done in Rage 1 and the various books and comics based on it. We'll be covering all of it more when we actually meet the characters though. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the exposition dumps in Rage 2 are actually, they're terribly done. But, the lore is really interesting, and the things that they scratched the surface of are really interesting things when you take a second to actually look into them.
So, what you got?
Well, I've got lots of ideas for projects, and with your help, we can get them off the ground. They're gonna be key to your survival out there. So, let's get you your ride.
As we send off from our enemy friend here, she tells us about projects. Projects are essentially skill points for things like extended ammo, faster reload speeds, and that sort of stuff. There are tons of forms of progression in the game, but projects are the bread and butter kind of upgrades.
You need to beef yourself up, and I need to get Vineland into some semblance of order. If you're lucky, your 3 Dagger project contacts will offer you a similar deal, because you sure need to get tough to take on the Authority.
Thanks for the tip. All right, I'm heading out.
It's a big bad world out there, so be careful. And don't go messing people over. You're a ranger now. You better act like it. Oh, and John Marshall in Gun Barrel is your closest Dagger. You might want to start there. And be careful.
Aw, dude, there we go. Now we're free to get out into the world and cause a fucking ruckus. And hopefully not die in the process. Hope y'all enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be getting to our first major city and completing our first real mission. Cheers everyone. Peace.